Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. So today is the 6th of February 2021, and I'm going to be looking at the general energy for the month ahead for us all. And it feels as though it's quite a big message. I've already pulled 4 cards, so I've got an idea of what I'm going to be talking about. And let's just take a nice deep breath before we get to it, okay? It honestly feels as though we just need to take a nice deep breath. I'm being serious. I'm also bringing in the big guns, as I call them. We've got Archangel Metatron here. We've got Archangel Uriel, and we've got Archangel Sandalphon. So there's a very grounded, earthy energy, and it feels as though, I'm wanting to say all the chickens are coming home to roost. It's as though this is a month to get real. It's a month to get real. And I think we've had months where there has been a lot of illusion, a lot of confusion, a lot of distraction. There's still a bit of that around. We haven't got complete clarity yet, but it's as though at both a macro and micro level, the world is trying to level up. Okay, I'm being shown an aeroplane and it's like it's trying to level up, to come in for landing, to come in for landing. Okay, so it's like the plane's doing this, it's a little bit wobbly still, trying to see through the fog and the cloud, but yet the landing strip is in sight and you are being given green lights to land the new thing, but we're still sort of in that transition period. This thing about leveling up applies in many different ways. It could be linked into your energetic chakra system. The fact that you need to be leveling that up, balancing it out would be another way to put it. So if you're very aware that there are particular chakras that are out of alignment, needing to do something about that. And if you're thinking, well, I don't know, well, the practice of just putting white light through the chakra system on a daily basis will help you. Being out in nature will help you. But more than anything, it's the power of intention a lot of the time. It's asking to be opened up to the highest light available, working with the energy, for example, of Archangel Metatron, and asking for his light to be around you, to fill you, and for that to be grounded on a daily basis. It's all about spiritual practice, really, isn't it? So there's a bit of that going on. Leveling up also feels as though it's to do with starting to appreciate. Well, let me just show you the cards, actually. Let me just show you the cards. Yeah, because the cards say it all. This particular deck as well, I couldn't find it, and I thought, what on earth have I done with it? And Metatron was really insistent that it had to be this deck, and it is beautiful. I've shown it to you before. It is, what is it? This one, Guardian of the Night. Guardian of the Night by M.J. Cullinane. Having said that, the first card is not from that deck. It's from the Lantern Oracle, which one of you sent me this week. Thank you very much. You didn't tell me who you were when you sent me the gift, so thank you. Thank you. But anyway, this is from the Lantern Oracle. Now, this card shows you, me, us, standing in front of this big gateway. Yes, another gateway. But this feels like 2021's gateway. And you will see that there is an angel very strongly guarding this gateway and this entrance. Now, she's not blocking the path, but it does feel as though there is a divine timing to being called through it. And it also feels as though this person, which is you and me, there are a number of different obstacles to get through before you arrive fully at the entrance to this particular gateway, which I'm hearing is linked into destiny. Okay, it's linked into destiny. Now, these obstacles and blocks, a lot of them are mental blocks. They are problems that, I mean, there are obviously real problems that we all have in our own life, literally, physical, logistical problems. But equally, what I'm sensing here is there's a lot of mental blocks. There's a lot of mental blocks. And what I'm being shown is our shadow energy really playing up at the moment, really playing up. And it's as though our higher self is wanting to show us a vision of a brighter horizon, you know, destiny, something that wants to come in, something that you maybe are meant to embody, maybe something that you're meant to do, somewhere where you're meant to be, someone that you're meant to be with, something that you're meant to build. I don't know, it's going to be different for everybody, isn't it? But the mind and the shadow is getting in the way and creating this great big long list of reasons why that couldn't work, or why that couldn't manifest, or worse than that, I'm actually hearing the energy of a child that's being scolded. So there's a lot of inner child stuff coming up as well, which is along the lines of, you know, if you grew up in an environment where you were told, don't be so silly, don't be so silly. And of course, don't be so silly often got said to children, certainly of, you know, my generation and older, of parents or teachers or guardians that weren't as aware as we are now, that children they're alchemists basically, and they're able to manifest whatever they need to manifest. They're born with these innate gifts, these spiritual gifts. And so now increasingly switched on parents will try and bring that out of them. But in the past, that wasn't the case. It was like, don't be so silly. Of course you can't see that. Of course you're not hearing that. So roll forward now to being an adult. When we are trying to manifest something into being, and we can sense it, we can taste it, we can really see it and feel it. But one, we've got our shadow, which is saying, no, stay where you are, you know, you don't need to do X, Y, Z. But you've also got the voice of the scolded inner child coming through, which is like, don't be so silly, don't be so silly. You know, you just stay where you are. You're lucky to have what you've got. You know, it's that thing, you know, you're lucky to have what you've got, you know, which is true to a degree, but it doesn't mean that you can't aspire higher and dream higher. And you see, that's what the angel is holding here. This is to do with dreaming higher, aspiring higher, wanting better for yourself, for others. But you need to get through this obstacle course, which is sort of laid out, not to try and trip you up. What Archangel Uriel is saying here is that this is a time of extraordinary learning and teaching. And for those that are really open to be looking at what is coming up for you in terms of your shadow, in terms of your inner child, and truly to look at it and to hold it. And by holding it and acknowledging it and then adding the energy of love to it, you of course help to dissolve the block. You're able to really start to get to the root problems of maybe why you haven't been able to do this or go there or be with that person, or, you know, however it's manifesting in your life. So this energy in February feels very much linked into the lower chakras, particularly base chakra, but I also want to put sacral and solar plexus in there as well, because the sacral is the creative juices, basically, which we need to be manifesting what we want to bring in 2021. The base chakra is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? The plane's wobbling all over the place. It's not safe. Let's just keep up here, even though you can't keep up here because you're going to run out of fuel. That's not an option. You need to land this baby. and the baby is your life. You know, funny I use the word baby because that's what it is. It's rebirth. It's you rebirthing yourself. It has to come out, basically, okay? And there will be a safe delivery, but it's going to be a lot safer if you're able to try to acknowledge, not bat away, not judge, not beat yourself up when the shadow comes to visit you, but just to sort of look on it a bit like an old friend in terms of, okay, it's you, is it? Okay, what are you trying to teach me? Now, the other thing I would say about when the shadow comes to visit, and I'm talking about your own shadow, which is your fear, it's the voice of fear. We all have it. The voice of, no, you can't really do that. You can't really have that. Don't be so stupid. It didn't work last time, so it's not gonna work this time. You know, you're misguided. You've got it wrong. Your higher self never gets it wrong. Your soul never gets it wrong. If you've got a soul calling, or your heart is telling you something, trust it. And if you then have the voice that comes in that says, nah, don't be so stupid, that's the shadow. Okay, so the thing with the shadow is, what Metatron teaches is hear it, acknowledge it, but it's about not staying in the same vibrational place. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that your life is made up of light and shadow, as is mine, as is everybody else's on the planet. You can't get away from your shadow. It's part of who you are. And you wouldn't want to, actually, because it serves a purpose, believe it or not. It's to do with helping you to refine and learn discernment and to push through, go against the grain sometimes. The reward is much greater when you've actually gone through the obstacle course to get to the reward at the end. But Metatron gave me the analogy this morning of, I know this sounds a bit weird, but baking a cake, okay? So there are many different stages to bake a cake. And the trick is that what you are trying to create is the finished article, okay? The nice cake with the icing, that tastes amazing, that maybe doesn't even put, centimetres on your hips. Let's really dream it in big, girls and boys. But in all seriousness, the cake, what's on the other side of the gate is the cake. But to create it, there are all these different stages. And many of the stages that you go through to make a cake actually can look really disgusting and yucky. When you stick the eggs in after you've beaten your sugar and butter together, often it goes it goes a bit curdled looking. It can look really disgusting. And you look at that, and if you put your finger into it and lick it, it's like, ugh, it doesn't actually taste very nice at all. Equally, there are other stages where you look at it and you think that doesn't look like it's going to rise. It doesn't look particularly nice. You can put it in the oven. You can open the oven door too early and it just sinks and goes, but you can always rescue it. The point is, there are all these different stages. What you must not stay in is the stage where it looks like, oh God, that looks disgusting. That's never going to rise. That's never going to taste nice. It will actually, okay? Because when you're in your shadow state, it's almost as though you're just staying in that curdled egg state. You're looking at it and thinking, yuck. Should I just throw the whole thing away? And, maybe start again, which would be silly, or just forget the whole thing. No, you've got to go through each of the stages to get to what you need to be and where you need to be. And I think that's where we are at the moment. So the cards that I've got out here from this deck, the Guardian of the Night Tarot, this first one, I think this is why I had to go and get this deck in particular, because this is the only card, and I've shown this to you before, this is the only depiction that I have of this in any of my decks. And it shows the heart and the feather. And those of you that follow me know that we've talked about this before in other videos. This links into the Egyptian initiation, or it's the Egyptian ritual after you died, whereby the heart would be weighed. And if it weighed lighter than a feather, supposedly, you could go into the afterlife and all was good. But if it was heavy and weighed down by, all the stuff that you hadn't dealt with, maybe it wasn't such a easy passage for you into the new life. Remember, the Egyptians believed in eternal life. So you're not going to be blocked from your new life. What we're trying to do here is get you to the best possible new life that you can get in 2021. And you're going to get that by working on the energy of the heart to try and make it as light as a feather, symbolically, and equally to clear all of these blocks A lot of them are mental and shadow related and inner child related that are stopping you. It's almost like some people are turning back from this gateway. It's almost as though, oh, it looks great, it looks beautiful, but actually, nah, I can't do it. It's just not going to work. Turning away. No, don't turn away. You've been invited here for a reason, okay? So the other guidance that comes then, so Three of Swords also implies an ending. This is to do with, if you want the new, you have to let go of the old. Now, how many times have we heard that? But have we truly heard it? Have we truly heard it? To get to the new, you have to let go of the old. It's that thing about, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. To get a different result, you need to shake up the status quo. You need to do something different. Now, again, it can be very scary to change everything all at once. So what you need to be doing is taking these blocks and trying to take them out one by one. And you do that by trying to instigate a new activity or a new energy into it, which basically causes the dominoes to fall. The dominoes being your fears, your shadow, the blocks that you've put up here as to why it can't work. And that could be anything. I mean, those of you that follow me on Instagram in particular, you know that I'm walking every day now, and I never miss a day. I've missed one day since, I think, beginning of December, and I'm feeling so much better for it. And I walk 4 or 5 miles a day, I think, if my pedometer's right. Might be a little bit less. But the thing is, that one thing has changed a lot of the energy around me. That's just one thing. Okay, it doesn't have to be that. It could be something else. It could be anything, to be perfectly honest. It's to do with your habit. It's to do with your routine. You have to shake up your routine. You have to shake up your patterns. You have to shake up your habits. When you do that, you're actually chemically altering stuff within your body, but equally you're changing the whole pattern, not just of what is here in the present, but what is possible in the future. So never underestimate the power of changing 1 or 2 things, even if they seem quite minor. It changes the whole pie. Think of a cake. Think of the cake analogy that Metatron gave us. If you're just making a basic sponge and then you stick some blueberries into it, it turns into a blueberry cake. If you put cocoa powder in, it turns into a chocolate cake, etc. If you put lemon into it, it turns into a lemon cake. You get the gist. So you've got to create some changes. But equally, there is the acknowledgement that there are endings happening at the moment. I mean, we all know this. I mean, you've only got to look around at your society, your town, walk around your town at a macro level and see the changes. It's extraordinary. So endings coupled with the Four of Swords. Now, the Four of Swords is the energy of rest and recovery. Now, I'm sorry to say this doesn't mean that we can all lie in bed for February and just hide under the duvet. What it does mean, though, is we need to be getting rest and rejuvenation. We need to be carving that into our routine more, okay? It isn't giving you carte blanche permission just to, as I say, lie in bed and do nothing, because then you actually block the forward movement energy. But what you are being asked to do is, let me just see what this is saying to me. I mean, look at that. I think it's supposed to be a little hedgehog or something. He's hibernating. He's hibernating from the outside world. The outside world is a little bit bonkers at the moment, isn't it? It's a bit crazy. Do you want to be adding your energy to that? Or do you want to be a bit like this wise animal that just knows when it's time just to retreat and just do me? Just do me. I'm going to do what I need to do. This is also about learning to say no. Now, I've been saying no to a few people over the last couple of weeks, and some of them probably hasn't gone down particularly well. It's all business stuff, to be perfectly honest. But what really lies behind it all, and that might not be how it's being perceived, is I'm looking after me. I'm looking after my energy. I'm looking after my time. and I'm giving back to myself what I need, which is more time, rest, and recovery. You can't do it all. We know this, but then we keep saying yes a lot of the time. It's like, oh, one more thing to say yes to. I can squeeze that in. No, you're squeezing that in to the time that you need to be recuperating and regenerating. Also remember, please, that change requires enormous energy, which is why if you're really trying to break down these old patterns and these shadow thoughts within your mind in terms of I can't do this, I can't say that, I can't approach this person, I can't go for that job, I can't, whatever, you know, if you're breaking down one by one all of those bits of resistance by just literally being brave enough to look at them, it takes enormous energy. I mean, I'm going to be honest, this is a bit personal, but I'll be honest with you. One of the shadow energies that I've noticed with me, and this is more personal life, it's not business, is in the evenings, I'm looking around and I'm thinking, right, how, and I'm feeling agitated or, you know, not really very comfortable, and I've got all the shadow energies coming in. I'm thinking, what the hell is this? What actually lies behind all of this? Why, what is this? And I've got one word coming through, and it's boredom. Boredom. It's like, oh my God, no. But in a way, rather than batting that away and pretending it's not there, look at why you're bored. Look at what that's all about. What are you not doing that you should be doing? Okay? Or what are you doing that's reinforcing the boredom? Does that make sense? So you've got to be brave enough to look at it though, because most people just will push it away. And it's like, oh no, I don't want to look at that shadow aspect. I don't want to really look at that. So I'll keep myself busy, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, look at it. Look at what it's trying to teach you. Because from looking at it, you can then do something with it. Well, you've then got a choice basically, haven't you? You've got a choice. You either change it or you accept it and you keep carrying on as you are. But those of us that are truly on our spiritual path, we want to be moving forward and becoming better people and having higher, when I say higher lives, I'm talking about the life that your soul wants to be living. Okay, I'm not talking about living in some great stately palace or anything silly like that. I'm just talking about aspiring to the life that your soul wants for you. And your soul doesn't really aspire to be sitting in front of the TV, eating crisps, you know, and drinking a glass of wine. It doesn't. It just doesn't. You know, it's like, no, come on, girl. You know, there's other things to be doing out there. Why are you doing that? Well, it's because I'm actually a bit bored. That's why I'm doing it. Right, okay, now you've noticed that. What are you going to do about it? It's like, oh, that's the hard bit. But then again, that's also when you're helped. That's when the angels come in. Metatron has always said to me, you've got to be the one to pick to do the first step, then we will help you. The another analogy I was shown this morning by Archangel Uriel, hold on a minute, I just need to have some water. Great mug, hey. Thank you, Glynis, for sending me Elvis. I can hear one of Elvis's songs in my mind. A little less. What's that one? A little less. Oh, it's a great song. Hold on, let's just have a quick look at the lip. Is it a little less conversation? Oh, I love that song. Yeah, a little less conversation. Oh, okay. Well, there's a message coming in from Elvis here. Love it. I love Elvis. This is the first, not chapter, what do you call it? Section of the music. A little less conversation, a little more action, please. All this aggravation ain't satisfactioning me. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. I know what he's trying to say. A little more bite and a little less bark, a little less fight, a little more spark. Close your mouth and open up to your heart and baby, satisfy me. Ooh, okay, so I know what he's getting at. More action, absolutely more action. Okay. I've gone hot under the collar now. I love that song. That word satisfaction, in all seriousness, satisfaction. I've got the word settle. It's to do with, are you going to settle this February? Or are you going to try and push through some of the blocks that are causing you to just settle and be satisfied with less than you deserve. That's basically what Elvis is saying in that song. That is what it's all about. Thank you, Elvis. Okay, right. What else was I about to say? I was about to talk about Uriel before that came in. Right, Archangel Uriel, let me just spray this. There's a message from Uriel, which I received earlier on today. So, I have said to you before that Uriel is a bit like this warrior angel who walks in front of us and who clears the pathway. Remember, we're talking about clearing the obstacles, clearing the pathway. So he's a bit like the canary that used to be sent down the mines to make sure there weren't any poisonous gases or whatever, and it was safe for the men to go down. He's showing me a different analogy today. He's showing me, you know, I'm sure lots of you do know because it's snowing in many parts of America. Before the snow arrives or before the ice arrives, the gritter lorry goes down the road, doesn't it? The gritter lorry goes down the road. And preparing for the ice and the snow that's going to fall. So Uriel's a bit like the gritter lorry, okay? Putting down the salt to try and keep us safe. But then we wake up in the morning and we see the ice, we see the snow. Do you, A, think it's a good idea to get in your car without any snow chains, without any de-icer, without a flask of hot tea, without a blanket, without maybe, you know, the AA or the RAC, the recovery people, you know, number at hand? Do you think that's a good idea? Or do you go out and help yourself with what Uriel has also partly done for you? Okay, so it's this interaction between the archangels and us. Uriel is saying we cannot, he's not saying we will not, he's saying we cannot step in and do it all for you. We will grit the roads, you know, we will help you, but you're the one that has to actually drive the vehicle or land the plane, you know, or get out of the armchair and go and do something else. Yeah? Okay. So Uriel also is saying that he's feeling underutilized at this time, which is actually criminal because Uriel is such a powerful energy. And he's there to pave the way for us. He's also linked into helping us to be of loving service and light. Okay, can you see that? Loving service and light. What this means is that whatever you're being called to do this February or through 2021 or through life generally, it's as though we need to put our heart and our soul into it. Whether we're cleaning the toilets, whether we're sweeping the leaves in the park, whether we're performing brain surgery in a hospital, okay? It's to do with whatever you're being called to do, you are doing it on behalf of the divine, effectively, because you're helping yourself and you're helping others. So see everything that you're doing as an act of service, and loving service at that, which is about aligning to that energy, you know? So I think that is very needed as well at this moment in time, particularly when a lot of people are changing profession, they're changing jobs, they're having to maybe do jobs they wouldn't necessarily usually be doing. Funnily enough, I was having my walk the other day and I wasn't following somebody, I was just behind somebody and they had quite loud voices, so I was trying not to listen, but I sort of was. And this woman with the loud voice, she was going on about somebody she knew in her family, and she was saying, yes, you know, and he's taken this cleaning job, and she was saying, can you imagine so-and-so in our family doing that, you know? But she was actually saying it in a way in terms of, you know, good for this person because they used to be a bank manager or something and they're now a cleaner, and she was saying good for Rob or whoever it was, you know, that he's taken this cleaning job because so-and-so wouldn't do it, they wouldn't demean themselves doing that. And she was saying, and absolutely right to say, you know, be humble. It doesn't matter what you do. It's to do with being of loving service, whether you're a cleaner or whether you're a brain surgeon. The divine, God, sees you all as equal anyway. Absolutely sees you all as equal. So Uriel comes in and helps us to be of loving service and light. So I'm just remembering something else, but I won't say. You're gonna say what? No. I shouldn't have been listening, you see. Or maybe I should, because now I'm relaying the story. Must have been in between songs, because I've usually got music blasting through my ears. But anyway, next two cards that came out, look at this. Two of Pentacles and and the Seven of Cups. My least favourite card, the Seven of Cups, because the Seven of Cups is to do with, in the traditional tarot, it shows the 7 cups, which are to do with our emotions and what is being offered. And some of the cups are full of good things, and some of the cups are full of illusion and things of lower vibrational energy. So it's sort of like, which cup are you going to take? And it always feels as though it's a bit of in the context of this, the Two of Pentacles, which is to do with choices. It's to do with, okay, well, if I choose that particular cup, is it going to be full of something that's quite toxic to me or that I really don't want? It's going to be a really difficult lesson. Whereas if I chose that, that's really going to fulfill me and make me happy. And I'm going to just go against conventional tarot teaching here with the Seven of Cups in this particular reading, because what I'm wanting to say is that for this month, it's almost as though tasting every single cup will actually teach you something. Sometimes we only know what is good and beautiful from having tasted the exact opposite. I mean, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? How can we know what adventure feels like, for example, if we haven't felt boredom? How can we how can we appreciate joy if we haven't felt infinite sadness? How can we appreciate what Karen Carpenter in my last channeling called plenty and feeling plentiful if we haven't felt complete emptiness? So these 7 cups that are being presented, and it does feel as though there's a lot being offered at some level, at some energetic level, but this is also the voices in your head. It doesn't mean it has to be a phone call from somebody offering you a job. Could be, but it's also the voices in your head. The 7 cups. If you taste each one, it's going to teach you something. Listening to the shadow voice in your head that says, you can't do that, that teaches you something. Because again, like Karen Carpenter said in the last channeling, she had an energy, she grew up with a childhood which was very much about, the favoured brother, So she had this energy of, I'll show them. I'm talking in terms of her talent. She was the most extraordinary singer, the most amazing drummer. She left a beautiful legacy of music. She did that from that sheer determination energy of, I'll show you. But she needed something to come up against to be able to do that. It gave her, it gave her what it gave her. So, so this is a month of extraordinary learning and teaching. And it feels as though, I also wanted to say, it's not a month for great sharing. And what I mean by that is we live in a world, I'm really coming away from it a little bit. I know I have a social media presence and I'm so grateful for all of you that follow me on social media. But I also hope that you are discerning in terms of, what you watch and when you watch. And I don't just mean me, I mean other people. We all have to be more discerning that do we need to know the ins and outs of what Mrs. Blogs down the road had for dinner and to see the picture of it on her Facebook page? I've done it myself, guys. I've done it myself. When Facebook brings back those memories of what you said 5 years ago, sometimes I literally cringe. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't say that, did I? I didn't show them that, did I? Because it just feels quite egotistical. It's like they didn't need to know that. That was just for me to know. So I've learnt from that. But, I'm saying that now. Why am I saying that? Because of this Four of Swords card, this hibernation. Certainly for this month, where there's all this great teaching coming in, keep some of it to yourself, keep some of it to yourself. Not everybody needs to know everything about every little detail of what's going on and who said what and blah, blah, blah. Because if you're learning, if you're in a period of great study and learning, and I think February is that, as an opportunity for that, then take yourself back to when you used to have to do exams when you were a teenager. You used to have to turn the radio off, you used to have to concentrate. So I think about concentration and focus. And you can't do that the whole time if you're just immersed in everybody else's, I'm sorry to say this, but I want to say trivia, okay? Yeah, I've said it now, so. Sometimes I don't win myself any friends, but, hey, my heart's in the right place, so. What else do I want to say about that Two of Pentacles? Yeah, because, you know, again, I just love the depiction of it. Very much like all of the different voices in our head and things that are being offered to us are there to teach us something at the moment. This Two of Pentacles, it's almost like there isn't a right or wrong choice. Look at that, two beautiful dolphins, both as beautiful as each other. There isn't a wrong choice, it's just learning. And all of the learning that you're going through is ultimately leading you up to this enormous, great big gateway. And I just want to call that destiny. Let's pull another card to go with the gateway card in this deck. Okay, that is the Lantern Oracle. I am wondering where, yeah, you see, the Lantern Oracle, on February the 26th in China, they have something called the Lantern Festival, which is the culmination of 16 days of Chinese New Year celebrations. And of course, last year in Wuhan and other parts of China, all of Chinese New Year celebrations got cancelled. And of course, the rest of the world were watching it thinking, crikey, you know, roll forward a year, of course, and the Chinese are doing better than we are. Let's not get into the whys and wherefores of why that is. But the point is, they are celebrating again. And there's something in that. It's almost as though last year, from out of China, it brought through this whole year for the rest of the world of what came in its wake, which we're all still living with. But there, it feels like there's something being bridged coming out of China now. And I know I'm going against the conventional narrative, which is like, oh no, you know, we've all got to be worried about the Chinese. And I'm not in that place. I'm talking energy. I'm talking the Chinese people. I'm talking from a much higher perspective here, that I believe there's a gateway energy, and there's something coming through this year for the next 12 months hence, which feels better for our world. And I don't even know what that is. And it's got nothing to do with the Chinese. It's just to do with the gateway energy. It's to do with, you see, I don't know my geography well enough. I'm being drawn to some sort of, there's an ancient temple, or there's a, is there a seventh wonder of the world in China, or is that the wall? I don't know. I'm being shown a temple somewhere in China. There's a light being activated underneath this temple in China. It's a place of pilgrimage, and that light is going to keep rising, and it's coming through. It's coming through for the rest of us. It's got nothing to do with the politicians. It's got nothing to do with the leaders. It's to do with, remember, Mother Earth ultimately is our biggest teacher, and any country just sits on Mother Earth. You know, you are lucky to be alive and part of Mother Earth, and you just happen to be an American, or you just happen to be Chinese, you just happen to be British, but actually you're a child of Mother Earth, and she does what she does, and she doesn't care whether it's in China, Russia, America, Finland, Poland, whatever. If the light wants to come through in that particular place, the light will come through in that particular place. And that's what I'm feeling. There's some energy coming through from China that's going to be good, not just for that country, but for the whole world. Could also be to do with the dismantling of some of the heaviest energies in China, of course. But I don't know. This isn't a reading about China. Right, let me just get back to what I was trying to say. So a card to go with the unknown. The unknown. What goes with the unknown? Renewal. Nice. What does that say? Hold on it. Regenerating. God. Regenerating. Oh, wow. Endings. Regeneration. It says renewal. It says regeneration begins with decay. Decay. Renewal is coming. It's what I was just channeling through about China. They've gone through a cycle. There's renewal coming. There's renewal coming for all of us, but we've got to face the decay first. There is decay on the ground. This is macro, but it's also micro. You've got to look at what is decaying in your life. And it's a bit like if you've got a tooth which has got decay in it, you can't ignore it. You have to face it. You've got to deal with it. You can't live with decay in your body. You can't live with decay in your life. You can't bring decay through that gateway. Can you? Hence why we're needing to look at what is ending in our life, what we need to recover from, regenerate, and we're learning from all of it. We learn from the bad choices, the good choices. It's a massive test as well of, it's just it's a master teacher energy. You know, I'm not calling anybody out here, but, you know, this morning on one of my social media pages, well, I'll say it was Instagram, I posted a video yesterday about masks and the jab. Let's just call it the jab, so I don't get into trouble on YouTube. And I put my own perspective on it. And then somebody said something along the lines of, yeah, but what does Archangel Metatron say? And I understand why you said that, but how I answered it was I said, what Archangel Metatron would say is that you've been given free will to make your own decision. And you know, I don't know how that went down, but it's the truth, because that's the energy of what we've got here. That there is just these different options with regard to big things like that and regard to every other choice that you've got in your life at the moment. Do I go for it? Do I not? Do I go for it? Do I not? Yes, I know, Mark. I know. Mark Bolan is really, I know my videos go all over the place. Mark Bolan, his energy is really strongly trying to come through at the moment. I might try and do some, I'm not even going to promise that. I've said it now. He sort of wants to come through around Valentine's Day. I know he does, but whether I do or not, I don't know. But the thing is, the song, because I'm hearing the song Get It On, Get It On. But again, you can only get it on. You can only turn the car on when the car is fueled, when the car is in a good state of repair, you know, when there's water in the tank, blah, blah, blah. That's where we're at the moment. Okay. Yeah, I knew he was wanting to try and get in there. Right. Any other messages for this particular video? Let's just spray my Metatron spray. Flame attunement. February Metatron. He does show me some strange things at times. He's now showing me, has he shown me an ice cream parlour before? I think he did in a previous video. Well, he does sometimes hammer the point home. He's showing me an ice cream parlour, and it's full of every single type of ice cream that you could possibly look at. And he's saying, why in an ice cream parlour, which is basically an analogy for life, would you just keep going for the vanilla the whole time? Try the chocolate chip, you know, try the tutti frutti, try the coffee, you know. It's like you don't know what you like until you've tasted it. That's what he's saying, you know. And then it's okay if you taste something, it's like, I'm really not sure that's for me, that's too sweet, that's whatever. Leave it. You never have to choose that again. But the worst we can be in at the moment is this energy of stagnation, which is I'm not changing, I'm not going to try anything new, I'm not going to take any steps forward, you know. For the soul to evolve to where it needs to be going in this, not even where it needs to be going, where it wants to be going. Variety is the spice of life is what I'm hearing. So it's shaking things up. And I realise I'm saying that at a time in our world where everything's closed down. So you're going to have to be a bit more creative and a bit more inventive is what Metatron is saying, okay? There's always different things to do. There's always different places to walk or whatever, I don't know, you know, or places to go in your head, you know. No excuses is what he's saying, no excuses. Because if you just make an excuse to what I've just said, oh, but I can't go for a walk because I'm not allowed to. I mean, that might be a genuine one. But, you know, it's like we can all make excuses day in, day out in terms of why we're not going to do something. Let's be honest, can't we? Because I can do it myself. We all can. No excuses. Right, let's pull another one card from here and one card from there. I think we're probably done. Perspective. A calm and clear mind is free to see differently. How perfect is that? How perfect is that? A calm and clear mind is free to see differently. Metatron has just, I'll show you the card in a moment. Metatron's just been asking you to try to do different things, to shake things up, to try new things. You can only do that when you have a calm and clear mind, an open mind as well. So look at this. The images of a woman looking through a periscope or something. There's a lighthouse in the distance. There's also something here to do about reclaiming your own mind. Reclaiming your own mind. There's been a lot of programming that's been going on over the last year or so, especially on social media. A lot of people are now starting to deprogram from a lot of the stuff that they were listening to or hearing that evidently, you know, none of it ever came to pass. And it's to do with freeing your mind from other people's, what other people are saying is going to happen the whole time. You know, you are the alchemist. You are the master of your universe, of your world. It's how you see it that matters. Not who Mr. So-and-so who's got, you know, 2 million followers sees it. It's to do with how you see it. What's your truth? Also, yesterday on Instagram, I was posting something along the lines of we need to be at peace with our decision-making process, but also at peace with how we view the world. How we view the world is going to be different from how the next person views the world. And that's okay too. And when we're truly at peace with that and we have that calm and clear mind, as this card says, we naturally then start to open up more anyway to everything. And we can see further. We can see further when we're not so preoccupied with what so-and-so says, what this person says. Think back to that analogy I gave just now about somebody saying, yeah, but I want Metatron to tell me what to do about the jab, for example. Okay, say he was going to do that, which he's not going to, by the way. Say he was going to, because he wants you to make the decision. It would just be right. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay, that's the answer. You wouldn't have any ability, you wouldn't have gone through any process of thinking for yourself, of being able to try and develop your own intuition, your own ability to discern, your own process of reading through whatever you want to read through, listening to whatever you want, and then come to your own conclusion, not because so-and-so says, but because it's true to you, okay? So it's got to be your perspective. Let's pull one more card from the tarot deck. Actually, no, let's pull... I know you can't read the words on this particular card. This is from the Lantern deck as well, the Lantern Oracle. It's basically talking about integrating all the different aspects of yourself. There is a peace, an equilibrium, and a fulfillment in integrating the inner wild with the taming and tempering effect life has on us. It's saying something slightly different there, but I want, in this reading, in this context, I want to look at this card in terms of the different voices in our head, the different options. That card has got a different meaning, but it takes us into a whole other reading, really. Do I want to go there in this particular video? Yeah, okay. Well, the one aspect that is relevant is if we go back to the gateway, some of the blocks that you might have got to going through this gateway is to do with the role that either you have given yourself or become identified with, and then you've reinforced it over and over, or other people have. So, for example, are you the serious, studious one? This would basically say you need to make friends and get to know this other side of you that is wild and free-spirited and actually is really happy to go through that gateway, okay? But you need to integrate the serious and the playful, okay? All different aspects of our being. Final card, please, Metatron, for this particular reading. Keep it under an hour. So February 2021. Any other message in this particular reading, please? Page of Pentacles. Yeah, look at that. You see the depiction of the Page of Pentacles, which is is in a traditional tarot, is to do with the offer, an offer coming in. Look at it's depicted via an octopus here. It's everything I've been talking about. It's the Seven of Cups again. It's all of the different options, all of the different tentacles that go out to different places. And ultimately, the octopus has its tentacle around, this is the one it's chosen. But equally, it could have used any of these other avenues to get there. It's a month of massive growth and massive learning for those that are really aware of what's going on, needing to be fully present with yourself, with the different voices in your head, with your shadow and what it's trying to say, with your light and what it's trying to say, with your inner child and what it's trying to say, with your angels and what they're trying to say, but then equally what you need to do in response to that. Remember, the Uriel analogy will help you some of the way, but then you've got to also come and do your bit. We have got endings. There is a transition period we're in where we're not meant to know it all in terms of what's coming in. Renewal, rest, recovery, integration of all aspects of our being. It's private, it's sacred. It deserves time and attention. So the truth is, you can sit in front of the TV all month if you want to. So could I. But you'll miss the opportunity of a lifetime, I'm hearing, to actually really do some quite serious work on yourself. And again, you see, straight away I can hear people like, oh, but how? How do I do the work on myself? That is the mind. That's the shadow that's telling you you've got to pick up the book. You've got to do something difficult. No, it's about sitting with yourself. It's about listening to yourself. It's about listening to those wounded parts of yourself. It's recognizing them for what they are. I gave you the example of boredom in this video. Okay, look at that. What's that trying to teach you? I'm not bored, of course, in all aspects of my life. Of course I'm not. I've got a brilliant business. I'm not bored with my business. But in other aspects, yeah, there's some boredom there. So what are you going to do about it? Okay, what's your shadow aspect? Is it anger? Is it frustration? I don't know what it is. Is it envy? Is it jealousy? Is it greed? Is it envy? Did I say envy? I don't know. You know, 7 deadly sins and all that. Okay, so lots of work to do. Let's pull a final card from my own Metatron deck just to crown all of this off. Dive into it. Because it's worth it. It's worth it. Because by doing this work now, you are clearing the path for something really quite beautiful wanting to come in. Yeah, we've got the fire dragon. We've got duality. You see, again, it's the balancing out of our light and our dark, our shadow and our light. Duality, working with the yin-yang symbol. We've also got the fire dragon. Purification, burning away. You know, what needs to be burnt away. Going into our core. You know, the dragon coming in. The dragons come in to burn away, to purify, to help us transmute, particularly low, excuse me, interesting, my throat's going, particularly lower energies with our lower chakras, base chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus. It's like we don't even get off the ground because that's where the wounding is. Clear it. Work with the energy of fire, you know, fire elemental. Work with the energy of the dragons. Work with Metatron. Work with Uriel. Okay? Work with the yin-yang symbol. Don't fight your shadow. Okay, guys. I think I'll leave it there for now. And then the last card on the bottom of the deck probably leads me into my next video, which will be my love reading, which is the King of Cups. King of Cups. So that will, maybe I'll use that as the starter for, then we're into the love reading, because we've also got the Two of Wands. So yeah. Anyway, that's for another day. I'm going to get out now into this beautiful sunshine, which is behind my curtains, and go and have a nice walk. Because again, I am doing that religiously every day because it's changing my energy. And by changing my energy, I help to change my life. And that's what we're all being asked to do. Lots of love, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Have a good month. And I will be back in a few days, probably with the love reading. Lots of love. See you all soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye.